Okay. So now I would pass the word to Maria Getsu. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation, and the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Christiana. Good afternoon to everyone attending the meeting. So I'm Maria Getsu from the European Commission. I will present shortly the next topics or the topics of the next open calls. I share my screen. You see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So,
yes.
Good. Because I see my screen now and I don't see you, but okay. So I will go very quickly to the, as I said, the open or the topics that will be open very shortly under Destination 3, Sustainable, Secure and Competitive Energy Supply. So first, I will present the cross-cutting issues of the global leadership in renewable energy. And there will be actually one topic on market uptake measures on renewable energy systems. So in the past, we had, since 2014, I guess, topics on market uptake measures, and the objective remains the same. So here, under scope, the objective is that we cover at least two of the expected outcomes. I will go in my next slide to the expected outcomes, and to involve the relevant stakeholders coming from business, from public authorities, from civil society organizations. You see also that the topic has an SSH flag, which means the involvement of SSH actors, market actors. And it should involve those who are committed actually, not only to develop the market uptake measures and the market business models, but also who are committed to adapting and implementing those and the results of the projects. And also assess the legal, the institutional, and the political frameworks at various levels, so local, regional, state, national, in Europe, examine the conditions of uptake of these renewable energy systems and their business models, and assess how various conditions would allow them or would accelerate them in the specific setting or in other settings. I move on to the expected outcome, and as you expect, the outcome is that the project would support the wider uptake of renewable energy systems and of renewable energy technologies, contribute also to the provision of validated tools and methodologies for policymakers or for other stakeholders. So when they analyze all the elements that come in renewable energy policies, they have all the elements and all the knowledge in order to take decisions that are appropriate and that can be adapted to the local conditions, and also contribute to the development of markets and respective financial frameworks. We expect that renewable energy, or we have the target actually, that renewable energy will form a major part of our energy system. So we need to have those frameworks which are adapted to the massive accommodation or to massive shares of renewables. And of course, improve the social acceptability of renewable energy facilities and of renewables. So the action is a CSA, so a coordination and support action. The total budget is 8 million euro. The indicative budget per project is 2 million euro. And you see a lump sum is indicated for the project, so the projects will receive a lump sum. And the timing is that, this is the same for all the topics that I will present today. The topics will open, or the calls will open on the 17th of September 2024, and the deadline will be the 21st of January 2025. So moving to the next thematic area about solar energy, here we have 4 topics on solar technologies, 3 are dedicated on photovoltaics, and 1 on concentrated solar power or solar thermal technologies. So the first of the PV topics is dedicated to PV integrated electric mobility applications, and the scope is divided into 2. In promoting VIPV, so vehicle integrated PV concepts, is the first part of the topic, and the second is about demonstration of PV charging solutions for providing a significant part of the charging demand. So the first part of this topic, vehicle integrated PV, includes, of course, the demonstration of cells adapted for the use, interconnection, encapsulation technologies, considering cost optimization and environmental friendliness for VIPV. This means considering the optimization of the resources which are used for these applications, resources in material and the solar resource, in connection with the vehicle usage model and the ratio of using solar power. So optimizing or trying to maximizing the ratio of using the solar power and the performance for VIPV. The expected outcome, of course, to promote the vehicle integrated photovoltaics in road transport. I have to stress here that this is a target which is included in the solar strategy. Solar strategy would like to promote the integrated forms of photovoltaics, and one of them is vehicle integrated PV. Reduce the usage of electricity grids in the 2 parts of the topic, so in all mobility applications, and in the specific application on vehicle integrated photovoltaics to increase the range of electric vehicles, and of course contribute to cost, energy efficient and climate neutral road transport. So the type of action, this is an innovation action. The total budget for the topic is 14 million. So, and the indicative budget per project is 7 million. And the call will open on the 17th of September with a deadline on the 21st of January 2025. Something that I have to say is that the joint center may participate as member of the consortium selected for funding. This means that JRC does not participate at the proposal phase, but if the successful consortia would like to use the facilities of the ESTI laboratory of JRC, they can invite JRC to participate in the project. So the next topic, is about innovative community integrated PV systems. So we are calling for the demonstration of a community aggregated system which would expand the use of cooperative solutions for the collective benefits of the community integrated PV system by using, for example, peer-to-peer trading, and by employing, first of all, a good planning and plant optimization tools, having advanced installation criteria dealing with all construction issues so that the system or the yield of the system which is installed would be maximized. Then advancing or maximizing also the self-consumption by having collective SIMs, by doing by providing the design and the simulation of the system in such a way as to provide power flexibility as well, with integration of storage, interaction with electric mobility applications, and of course interaction with the grid. And then develop as well protocols for robust communication and for all levels of control that are cyber secure. Cybersecurity is a topic which is very important. Offering the benefits of advanced smart power electronics, sensors, intelligent systems, and the like. The expected outcome is actually to promote the community integrated PV systems, to enhance their profitability, the penetration of such systems in the European landscape in order to facilitate the energy transition, and also to engage citizens in the energy transition, citizens and social acceptance, as we will say, but as we stress, it are two elements which are very important for transitioning to a renewable energy system. So the uptake of energy cooperatives and the development of decentralized platforms would contribute to this and would play an important role. That's an innovation action as well, with a total budget of 10 million euro and an indicative budget per project of 5 million euro. We encourage here the international cooperation within the Mediterranean region. And as I said before, if I said it, we expect the effective contribution of social science and humanities disciplines in the formation of the consortia and in the participation of the various stakeholders in the proposals. The next one is a topic about the resource efficiency of PV in production, use and disposal. This is a CSA, and with the CSA we would like to identify the main areas of improvement so as to decrease the environmental footprint of the technology. But considering, of course, the whole life cycle, not only usually, okay, we know that PV has a footprint, a CO2 footprint during its production, during the commissioning, transport and the commissioning, but during its lifetime, which is rather long, it helps to avoid actually it contributes to avoidance of CO2 emissions, but of course this needs to be taken into consideration. So when we identify main areas of improvement and identify key candidates to reduce the resources and the critical materials, they should not disadvantage the lifetime or the electricity production during the lifetime of the PV system, and propose how system components can be designed in a way that encourages reuse, recycling, and how to use actually the notions of the circular economy, or how to better englobe and use such notions. So the outcome, of course, is to reduce the environmental footprint of the PV technology across the phases, all the phases of the system lifetime of PV. But I stress that actually the environmental footprint is more pronounced during production, transport, and installation and end of life, but also design and process guidelines to optimally address circularity, which will be more and more important from now on, with the use of technologies, renewable energy technologies, which are based most on materials and or the use of rare materials or the use of materials that need to be which have not been used until now in that scale. So I go to the next slide. So this is a CSA, as I said before, a coordination and support action. One project will be supported with an indicative budget of 3 million. And we again encourage international cooperation with the Mediterranean region. Now, the next is about digital tools for CSP and solar thermal plants. And the scope is the innovative application of digital tools, or the application of innovative uses or innovative introduction, if you like, of digital tools in both CSP or concentrated solar thermal plants for heat and cold, or non-concentrated solar heat and cold plants. Any type of digital tools is welcome in the application. Artificial intelligence techniques are also in the scope. And where applicable, these digital tools should support the night-based load generation from thermal energy storage, and the demonstration should last for at least 6 months so that we can see how it can help the whole life cycle of, or the various aspects of and incident angles of the direct solar radiation and the various phases of such plants. So the expected outcome is, of course, improved performance and reduced operation and maintenance costs of both types of plants, the reinforced role of CSP in the power market, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions and the achievement of the CSP targets in the set plan. It is an innovation action with an expected TRL 7.8 by the end of the project. We have available 6 million budget, and the indicative budget per project is 3 million. I have to stress here that we will finance 2 types of projects. So if we have proposals which are, of course, successful, one project will be financed in the area of CSP, and one project will be financed in the area of solar thermal heat and cold, whether it's concentrated or not, non-concentrated. Moving now to the next area, the wind energy. We have here 2 topics on wind energy. One deals with the minimization of environmental footprint again, and optimization of socioeconomic impacts in the deployment, operation, and the commissioning of offshore wind farms. So recently, of course, offshore farms come more and more of interest, and therefore the topic is about assessing actually which are the impacts, because we are not aware of all the cumulative impacts of offshore wind farms. Assessing the impacts, some of them might be negative, some of them can be positive actually. So assessing the impacts and then integrating these impacts in design tools for deployment and decommissioning, and also providing solutions on how to minimize negative impacts or how to get advantage of and use actually positive impacts at all stages of the life cycle of a wind farm. So these 2 aspects are should be considered in the proposals. So possible actions would either develop design tools to minimize the overall life cycle environmental impacts, or propose solutions to reduce the environmental impacts of offshore wind farms. The expected outcomes are, of course, sustainability, enhanced sustainability, improved circularity, improved understanding, first of all, of any impacts, and therefore all the other would follow, and innovative and cost-effective solutions, so solutions that would lead to a lower LCOE for electricity coming from offshore wind farms. Yes, should I continue or?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Someone will have a microphone on.
Okay, no problem.
We are a little bit, we're reaching the
time. I will go fast. Okay.
Great, thank you, Maria.
So I will go faster. So 10 million in total and 5 million per each project. That's area. The next is the demonstration of innovative floating wind concepts. And again, this is a new technology. So we would like to show which are the innovative floating wind concepts, and to demonstrate them in real environment, and to identify the best existing practices and identify also the remaining gaps knowledge gap and how we would overcome them. So that first of all, we have all the tools that would allow us to have floating wind concepts, successful floating wind concepts with a lower LCOE, help develop also the value chain which is necessary to implement the floating wind concepts, and all the data for the optimization of the whole process. So the commissioning, etc., etc. Oops, I went too fast. The topic is big, so the funded projects will be big, with a total budget of 30 million euro and 15 million euro per each innovation action. In ocean energy now, we have one topic on critical technologies for the future ocean energy farms. These deal with a demonstration of novel components and systems, starting from developing or demonstrating novel materials, first of all, materials which can be used in the aggressive environment of an ocean energy farm. Then all the instrumentation which is necessary for monitoring and predictive maintenance, or the artificial intelligence tools which are necessary also for the technology development. All these need to be combined and demonstrated that they bring in an enhanced, or that they formulate an enhanced ocean energy system with a lower LCOE at the end, and this is one of the expected outcomes. So to increase the performance, improve knowledge, and lower the LCOE. The total budget for the topic is 8 million, with an indicative budget 4 billion per project, and the projects will be as research and innovation actions. We go now to carbon capture and utilization. We have two topics here. The first one is carbon capture and utilization for the production of fuels, with a demonstration of energy efficient and economically and environmentally viable CO2 conversion technologies. So here, the conversion of CO2 to fuels is, of course, a process that requires energy by itself. Therefore, in order to have a product that is economically and environmentally viable, we need to demonstrate this through a life cycle assessment and conducted according to the standards which are mentioned in the topic. And the new solutions are expected to provide products which are economically viable, and also to demonstrate CO2 reuse or use through the combination of processes in an industrial symbiosis environment. The total budget for the topic is 15 million, with the per project budget of 7 million. The second topic is about DACs and BECs. So for the removal of CO2 removal. The topic calls for innovative or more knowledgeable technologies for CO2 mitigation options, conducting a life cycle assessment, which would take into consideration all the elements that I have mentioned previously in the previous topic, and here, in addition, if it requires BECs, also the environmental sustainability of biomass. So it should consider also the societal readiness of the proposed innovations. And the objective would be to improve the existing or develop new materials for the two technologies, address the potential barriers that technologies might have, and make them a viable, and I say from an environmentally and economic perspective, a viable option for the future energy system. The total budget is 15 million, with a per project budget between 5 and 7 million. And last but not least, the renewable fuels area. There are here three topics, two on renewable fuels. The first one is on the next generation synthetic renewable fuel technologies, which are based on CO2 and hydrogen. So the feedstock should be CO2 or renewable carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, and their compounds. and the process energy should also be renewable. Proposals should consider synergies with other renewable energy technologies in order to improve competitiveness and maximize the greenhouse gas emission of the production process, based on a life cycle assessment. So the pathways, the production pathways that are to be used are based on renewable hydrogen and or hydrogen ionic compounds, and the forms of renewable energy, you read them, electricity, direct sunlight, or heat, to address uses in fuel cells for all transport modes, and to collaborate as well with the clean hydrogen joint undertaking in case that would require collaboration in aspects like integration of hydrogen or participation in activities of the trust database, etc. So in order to increase the availability and the disruptive emerging synthetic renewable fuel technologies, which can be used, however, in dedicated areas where other technologies cannot be used, and reinforce the European scientific basis. This is a research and innovation action with a total budget of 12 million and a per project indicative budget of 4 million. And the last, not the last, the one before last is the topic on smart concepts of integrated energy-driven biorefineries in order to produce advanced biofuels, biochemicals, and biomaterials. So to develop zero waste, low carbon emission, and energy efficient biorefinery concepts that produce all the materials that were previously mentioned, based on biogenic waste, residues, on algae or aquatic biomass, trying to use as much as possible mass and energy flows that would allow to use actually the energy which is co-produced in the biorefinery in order to be transformed into a useful energy for the production of these products, or, for example, to have bioproducts used for biochar, for soil amendment, and in order to maximize the overall material and energy efficiencies. This is also an action in support of Mission Innovation Biorefineries mission, with which aims to bring into parity the price of the products that will be obtained with the biofuel equivalents or with the fossil fuel equivalents. Projects are requested also to do an economic feasibility study. And the expected outcome would be to reduce the cost, improve efficiency, and support the risking of the biorefineries concept, and reinforce the European scientific basis and industrial basis, I would say. We have 7 million for this topic, with 3.5 million per project, and this is a research and innovation action. And the last one, the last action, and I hope I did that as quickly as possible and as quickly as I could, is a topic which is in support of the set plan area, or the set plan action on renewable fuels and bioenergy. Actually, there is a support for them to upgrade the implementation working group 8 in order to take into account all the recent policy developments. So they are mentioned here, in order to detail which are the available public and private sourcing or investments that can be used for the implementation or for actual translation of this implementation plan into action, and to support also the annual report to the SETIS plan, to the set plan through SETIS. So the expected outcome would be a consolidation of strong and sustainable networks in the area of renewable fuels and bioenergy, and the cooperation among all the stakeholders that take part in the EWG, renewable fuels and bioenergy. And by this, I would like to thank you. I think I was going very fast because the material was, I mean, was big. I had a lot of things to say, and I hope it was clear enough. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you so much for this really overview of all the still open topics for people to take advantage of. I would like to ask you to stay, if you could stay till the first panel discussion, so we could have a Q&A moment and people can ask their questions, and invite Luisa Revilla and Mariana Carvalho. We will start by Maria Luisa, which, as I mentioned before, is the national delegate for Spain, Cluster 5, based on CDTI, which is the public business entity dependent on the Ministry of Science, Innovation and Universities. And it's my great pleasure to have you here, Luisa. Thank you so much for being here with us today, and I'll give you the floor.
Okay, thank you very much, Christiana, and all your team, for inviting me to this info day. It's for me a pleasure to be here. I'm going to share a screen. Please tell me if you... sorry. Okay. So this one. Can you share?
Yes, I can.
You see it? Okay. I'm going to put full screen. Okay, but my presentation is going to be divided into parts. The first part is in order to understand you, explain briefly the institutional framework for energy transition at a national level in Spain. And also the second part is more focused on the energy opportunities in Horizonte Europa. This slide is important for me in order to reflect that the importance of the international and European framework that in some ways serves as inspiration for our national strategic framework. So our national documents, laws, roadmaps, strategies are very aligned with the European framework mainly. In this sense, I would like to highlight here the National Plan on Energy and Climate, the long-term strategy on decarbonization for 2050, and also different roadmaps in different energy technologies, energy storage, self-consumption, hydrogen, biogas, and also offshore wind and marine energy in Spain. We have two ministries that are more involved in energy issues. One of them is the Ministry for Ecological Transition and Demographic Challenge. This ministry is in charge of implement and design the energy policy at national level. This ministry has an agency, the IDAI, that is in charge of the implementation of the different funding programs. And these programs are more focused on investment projects of high TRL, and in some cases, commercial projects with a high degree of innovation. And the other ministry is the Ministry of Science, Innovation and University, that is in charge of the implementation and design of the research and innovation policy. Is open to all technologies, including energy technologies and energy renewables and so on. And this ministry have two specific or affiliated entities: the State Agency for Research, and the CDTI, that is the National Agency for Innovation. I would like to comment a little more about the Ministry for Science and Innovation and University. That is the ministry to which the CDTA is part of it. As I have mentioned before, this ministry is in charge of this proposing and executing the government policy of science research, technological development, and innovation in all sectors, not only in the energy field. The main instrument is the Spanish strategy that is being developed for a number of periods of years, from 2021 to 2027. And the main objective of this strategy is to maximize the coordination between national and regional planning and programming. And the second objective of this strategy is to facilitate the articulation of our research, development and innovation policy with the policy that at European level is taking place. And in this case, the alignment with the Horizon Europe is very clear. As you can see at the end of the slide, because our strategies areas of this strategy are health, culture, creative and inclusive society, security for society, digital world, industry, space and defense, climate, energy, mobility, and food, bioeconomy, natural resources, and environment. As you can check, these areas are very aligned with the cluster that are included in the Horizon Europe. So our national strategy, Spanish strategies for research and innovation is very aligned with the Horizon Europe. And in this sense, the topics that are included in the area of climate, energy, and mobility are typical of the typical areas included also in the topics of Horizon Europe, no? Climate change, mobilities, sustainable cities, and energy transition. This Spanish strategy is implemented through the state plan. We have with 2 periods of times, the state plan for 2021-2023 that finished in December last year, and the new one, 2024-2027, that is going to be launched in the coming days or coming weeks, no more later. And this state plan, the new one will be the same structure that the previous, with 4 state programs and 13 sub-programs covering different areas and domains of very importance for the government of Spain. As I have mentioned before, the Ministry of Science, University and Innovation has 2 funding institutions, funding agencies. The first one, the State Agency for Research, is more focused on academia, on technological centers, research centers, universities. And the second one, the National Innovation Agency, CTTI, is more focused on the private sector. The main objective of the CTTI is to increase the competitiveness and internationalization of Spanish companies through innovation. And through both agencies, we have different funding programs, different funding schemes, depending on the goal, the beneficiaries. But I would like to mention here or to stress that all of them are open to all energy technologies. A very brief introduction to the CTTI. As I have mentioned, CTTI has 2 main activities. One of them is provide national research and innovation funding for private companies mainly. Okay, these companies have to be based in Spain, and the research and innovation have to perform also here in Spain. And the second activity is to promote the participation of the Spanish entities in international research and development collaboration programs, including, for example, Eureka program, Eurostar program, Horizon Europe program also, and so on. And in general, we cover all TRLs from TRL 4 to TRL 7. Technical risks of the projects, the intensity of our aid will be higher or lower. No? The project with a high or great technical risks, they will receive a high aid intensity, mainly through grants of subsidies. I will also here mention that both agencies from Ministry of Science and Innovation and universities are taking part of the co-funds partnership, THET and DUT, in the energy field THET and in the urban area the DUT. These co-funds have been promoted and supported by the European Commission, and also has been the results of the collaboration between member states in the framework of the set plan. No? I would like to mention here that Spain have an active participation in the set plan, not only in the studying group, whose members are coming from the Ministry for Science and Innovation and University, but also from the Ministry of Ecological Transition. So both the research and also the energy policy are working together in terms of collaboration. We are working very close with each other. And also we have an active participation in different implementation working groups, covering mainly all renewable energies and also activities. For us, it's also important the support that we provide to the national technological and innovation platforms. These platforms are similar to the ones that are now at European level. They called TIPS. This platform at national level for us is a very good instrument in order to be aware about the research and innovation needs of different sectors in the energy field. And as you can see in this slide, we are supporting 12 technological platforms on energy sectors, covering mainly all different renewable technologies. My second part of the presentation is about the collaboration in the framework of the Horizonte Europa. That you can see energy is in the cluster 5. And the role of CDTI in Horizonte Europe is something that I would like to mention here, because in CDTI you can find the national contact points and the delegates in all the clusters included in the Pillar 2, and also the national contact point and delegates in the European Innovation Council. Also, we are taking part in the state representative group of the different joint undertakings. For example, in the energy field, in the clean hydrogen joint undertaking. This is for us crucial because we don't have only a specific vision of our theme, in the case the energy field or the climate, energy, and mobility of the cluster 5, but also we have an overview of the rest of the clusters and cross-cutting issues that affect to the different domains. So for us, it's crucial in order to provide a better advice for our participants, no? And help them to better participation in Horizonte Europe. Here I mentioned the areas in red in which new topics will be open shortly in the call 2024. And here I would like to show you the results that we have obtained in the area of renewable energy technologies in the period 2021-2022. And I would like to mention or to highlight the good participation of our entities, not only academy, but also industry, in terms of percentage of grant that we have obtained in the participation in the funded project, but also in the number of project coordinators, that this reflect that our companies are very well prepared and have a good knowledge in order to coordinate the different projects. On the right and on the top, I would like to mention also the different type of entity participating in this area, no? Renewable energy technologies. Almost 50%, 51% is carried out by private companies. Okay. Here in this slide, I have tried to reflect the different projects in which there had been a very good collaboration between Spanish partners with Portuguese partners in areas in which will be also be open in the next call 2024, in the area of PV, in the area CSP, in wind, and in red you can see the entities that has the coordinator of these projects. Also in other areas, there are good collaboration between Spanish and Portuguese partners in the area of biofuels, ocean, breakthrough technologies, and also market uptake. Here you can see for the area of wind and ocean, the most significant entities at Spanish level. In red, you can see those entities that have coordinated a project, funded project. And also I would like to for example, in this area, to mention our capacities of facilities. No, we have 3 open seat test centers at national level, BIMED in the north of Spain, in Basque Country, the Plocan in Canary Island, and also in Galicia, Punta Langostera, experimental areas for the use of marine energies. And also, I would like also to highlight other facilities reference for these technologies, marine energies in general, offshore wind, but also wave, tidal, ocean energies. And it's one of these is FedEx, that is in Madrid for offshore wind experimentation, CEIPAR, that is also located in Madrid. Also, it's a center for hydrodynamic research. Other of the facilities is the ECM, that is located in Barcelona, Catalonia, also with research and engineering activities in the maritime field. And the last one is the Cantabria Coastal and Ocean Basin that is located in Cantabria, no? Also for hydraulics research. In the area of PV and CST, in the area of solar, also we can see here the more significant entities, and also in the area of renewable fuels. The most relevant technological centers that are taking part in this project are the one that you can see here in this slide: Tecnalia, CENER, IREC, Technique, CIRCE, CEID, Leitat, ITIP. We can also public research institutions, CSIC, CIEMAT, INDEA, Energia. INCAR, CSIC is very close to the activities in the area of capture carbon and storage and transport of CO2, and also this is the most relevant university. Of course, if you need to contact with some of them, please let me know by email, and I could facilitate the right person in order to contact for future projects. Here also is the same slide that the previous one, but in this case related to the energy efficiency building, including also the Build for People partnership. Also very good participation in terms of return achieved by the Spanish entities, and also in terms of number of project coordinators. So very good results also. And here also, for me, it's important to highlight the entities that have been more active in these areas, technological centers and also private companies. And as the last one slide, I will highlight research and innovation collaboration between Spain and Portugal. For example, in 2022, there was a very agreement between Portugal and Spain in order to create the Iberian Center for Research in Energy Storage. Is located in Cáceres, Extremadura, and is going to be at the center of excellence in research, development, and application of the different energy storage technologies, including, for example, hydrogen technologies. This installation has been funded also with money coming from the Recovery and Resilience Facility. And also another example of collaboration, good collaboration in research and innovation is the Atlantic Constellation, that is a joint Earth observation program that will complement the European Copernicus satellites. So in this case, the program involves the launching of 16 satellites, 8 for each country. And there are more areas for collaboration between Spain and Portugal in mobility, in electricity grid, in hydrogen, in renewable gases. And okay, I hope that our collaboration go ahead and go increasing more and more. And this is for my side. This is the names and the emails of the person that could you can contact for any time, any doubt or any consultation that you have in the energy field in Horizonte Europa. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Luisa. Really interesting information and the logos and results from Spain, which is really the champion on renewables in Horizonte Europe. So it's really nice to see what you've presented. Thank you so much. So I would like now to invite Mariana from APREN for her presentation. I don't see Mariana, but she was connected before. Oh, there you are.
Yes.
Yes.
a second to share my screen. Okay. You can see it, right?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. First, I'd like to thank the invitation on behalf of APREN. My name is Mariana Carvalho. I'm a policy advisor at the Portuguese Renewable Energy Association. And today I will share APREN's perspective on renewable energy R&D landscape in Portugal. This presentation will focus on 5 points, starting with the main bottlenecks for deployment of renewables from a general perspective. Then I will focus on targets for 2030, Portuguese targets. Then a brief mention of the European R&D challenges and solutions, followed by the main R&D challenges in Portugal, and a few of APREN projects that we considered interesting to share with you today. Unfortunately, renewables are facing several bottlenecks that are delaying their deployment, starting with the lack of skilled people. The energy sector is a very comprehensive sector and requires a wide range of skills from engineering, policy, and markets, which represents a huge universe. Public authorities and companies need trained human resources, and as you know, newly graduate employees do not have the right preparation for this reality. So it is necessary to learn during the job while gaining experience. Also, in order to ensure the proper energy transition, it is necessary to promote more reskilling and upskilling initiatives. As for the permitting procedure, this is one of the major bottlenecks in Portugal. It's a long and bureaucratic process. There's a significant lack of digitalization and simplification of steps, and procedures for new technologies such as offshore wind, battery storage, hybridization, and green hydrogen are not properly established and take longer than expected. There's also a lack of proper territorial management in Portugal. The cartography in place is extremely outdated and does not represent reality in terms of land classification. And due to this fact, all permitting entities have different approaches regarding land usage, which should be minimized with a one-stop shop, for instance, to coordinate the whole process. And finally, Portugal already defined the go-to areas or acceleration areas for renewables, but due to the previous 2 points, the go-to areas were poorly defined, unfortunately. Another major bottleneck is the lack of updated grid development plans. Both the transmission system operator and the distribution system operator should update their development plans every 2 years, and neither of them published the updated plans in 2023. And on top of that, the previous plans from 2021 were only partially approved by the regulator. Besides this, the lack of grid availability and transparency regarding access points continue to be one major bottleneck for new projects. Moving forward, as settled by the European Commission, Portugal revised its National and Energy Climate Plan for 2030 in June of last year. The targets proposed in the first version of the NECP were anticipated to 2026 as an immediate result of the REPowerEU package. And then the NECP revision brought an even more ambitious target of 20.4 gigawatts for solar and 12.4 gigawatts for wind until 2030. Additionally, targets were finally set for storage capacity with 1 gigawatt for battery storage and electrolyzers capacity with 5.5 gigawatts for green hydrogen production. However, APREN defends that for 20 gigawatts of solar, 1 gigawatt of battery storage isn't enough to ensure the optimization of solar generation. And this is why it will be required the support of R&D to allow the introduction of flexibility in the electricity system. Also, the NECP sets a few targets for research and development, as shown in the following table. The energy sector will benefit from 0.2% of the Portuguese GDP until 2030, from a total of 3% of the GDP invested in R&D. In this matter, the NECP recommends that in a first approach, R&D programs should include intelligent energy management systems and new infrastructures, energy storage, low carbon technologies, energy efficiency, and hydrogen as a new energy vector. However, the NECP recommendations are extremely generic, and considering that we are in the middle of 2024, it is urgent for Portugal to define strategies and specific investments for these areas. And now from an European perspective, ETIP Wind considers the following bullet points as the main concerns for R&D in the wind sector, which are deploying wind power, manufacturing, wind power in the energy system, sustainability, workforce and skills, and R&I investments. On their agenda for 2025-2027, they established 5 axes of action for their strategy, focusing on the following keywords: industrialization, digitalization, system integration, sustainability and circularity, skills, and coexistence. And on the same note, ETIP Photovoltaic has some similar areas, but with a significant concern regarding social acceptance and public engagement due to the usage of critical raw materials and some public resistance to residential and utility scale PV. ETIP PV presents a few suggestions for solving these challenges, as listed on this slide that I believe you can check later. And following the ETIP wind and solar nodes, the main R&D challenges in Portugal rely on the following. For wind power, the manufacturing sector, considering that Portugal has several factories for wind blades, nacelle, and towers. Then sustainability, considering that the wind sector is reaching its end of life in the next years, circularity must be put in place right away. On the other hand, solar is facing challenges regarding social acceptance due to the perception of biodiversity loss and ecosystem changes. As for workforce and skills, as mentioned before, the lack of human resources in all different areas of the value chain is a major concern, and this will aggravate with the ambition and pressure resultant from the new energy transition targets. Finally, R&D investment. There's a lack of concrete plans for R&D investment at national level. On another note, it is difficult for developers to promote R&D investment as part of their projects unless they have a CFD or PPA regime, especially considering the current low electricity prices that we are facing. And in order to tackle some of these previous challenges, APREN has been participating in several projects with other stakeholders to promote renewable energy deployment. The program Green Skills and Jobs that is mentioned in the Portuguese NECP consists of a training center for the energy transition in Santiago do Cacém. This was an initiative launched by the Portuguese government with the involvement of the Institute of Employment and Vocational Training, alongside with APREN and also ADEN, which is the Agency for Energy. WIMBY, that stands for Wind in My Backyard, is a European project that will translate into useful tools and information, and will also study the drivers and barriers of social acceptance. Another European project, ShoreWinner. This one is focused on the development of skills, upskilling and reskilling of the workforce and sharing resources, focused on offshore wind. Then another project, Eólicas Circulares, which translates in circular wind turbines, more or less, is a partnership between APREN, EDP, Veolia, and the environmental consultant 3 Drivers. And this project consists of 2 phases. The first is focused on the characterization of the Portuguese assets and the assessment of the valuation potential, while the second phase is focused on the design of an end-of-life management model for wind farms. Another one is biodiversity in municipalities, which is the most recent project. It's a study on valuing biodiversity and sustainable development in municipalities. And this is based on the premise that renewables can promote the valorization of biodiversity, the preservation of ecosystems, and the sustainable development of municipalities. And finally, Renewable Energy Bulletin, as a last example. This results from a partnership between APREN and R&D Nestor, and it's broadcasted on television every Monday morning. This is a 20-second slideshow, very short, but presents the forecasts for solar and wind production, translating its potential to satisfy households' consumption in Portugal. And that's it. Thank you for your attention. I'm available for questions if you have any.
Thank you so much, Mariana, for this very interesting overview. We are running a little bit late, so I would like to ask the audience if someone has a question they would like to pose to any of our 3 speakers, Maria, Luisa, or Mariana. If not, then I will apologize and will suggest that we skip the break that we had initially envisaged. And thank again both Maria, Luisa, and Mariana for these very nice presentations. And it's good to see that both Portugal and Spain share goals and challenges in the energy sector that hopefully the funding opportunities of Horizon Europe can really contribute to tackle some of them. So this is what we were aiming to kind of really show this puzzle and incentivize our stakeholders to really see these synergies and how they can really look for these collaborations. So without further ado, I would pass on to the second part of our event and thank the speakers that we will have now to the second part, focus on Build for People. I'd like to introduce Anastasia Yurkshishna. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce your name correctly, Anastasia, from ECTP, and like to invite you to now introduce Build for People partnership topics. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So, well, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. And well, from behalf of myself and from behalf of ECTP, and you've done a great job in pronouncing my last name, so it's all fine at this point. So, do you see my screen all right?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. So thank you very much once again. Good afternoon, everyone. Today I have a pleasure to present Build for People partnership, which is the co-program partnership, which is from one side, from public side, it is run by the European Union, the European Commission, and from the private side, it's us, ECTP, and World Green Building Council. So the quick statistical information about the partnership, we bring together the whole value chain to accelerate people-centric innovation for a sustainable built environment. The partnership runs for 7 years from 2021 to 2027. And the objectives are well defined in the Memorandum of Understanding. The partnership is co-programmed, and the estimated budget in total is about 780 million, where it's split almost mutually between the European Union commitments, 380 million, and partners' commitments of 400 million. And, well, as rightly said, it's Pillar 2, Cluster 5, Destination 4. So as all partnership our partnership is also committed to work together in shaping research and innovation programs in the European Union and for all the interested stakeholders. This all to generate the added value for research and innovation, and also support to do it in agreement with political priorities of the European Union Commission and research and innovation in Europe in general. There are two critical challenges for the built environment innovation ecosystem. It's to become more sustainable and resilient in our conditions, which constantly change from the point of view of climate, biodiversity, political situation, as well as to become more people-centric in order to improve the individual well-being and social cohesion. And Build for People partnership is supporting the political research and innovation priorities of the Commission by contributing to achieving the 2030 energy targets, by supporting the European Renovation Wave strategy, by being compliant to the European Union Circular Economy Action Plan and the Affordable Housing Initiative, as well as aligned with many other ambitions, targets, for example, European Green Deal, the New European Bauhaus Initiative, basically trying to take into consideration and respect all the European initiatives as much as possible. From the environmental context, it is the urgent need to decarbonize the built environment, to change user behaviors, to ensure more sustainability in this behavior, to rethink and reconsider the relationship between nature and the built environment, and to preserve our built heritage, which we have already. Geopolitically, it is the need and the requirement to secure our supply chains through circularity, to secure energy supply and prices, and obviously to make the built environment safe for all citizens in all the aspects. Answering the societal trends, it is the urgent need to ensure access and affordability for all stakeholders in the built environment, to be able to enable quality of life and social cohesion through the built environment. And technologically, obviously, it is the urge to integrate all technologies in order to be more competitive, to be more sustainable in the general context of Europe. And this all to ensure the safety in use. And here, I'm not going to stop in detail which European Union policy regulatory initiatives we take into consideration. There are quite a few. And I would like to go further to the scope of the Build for People partnership. So it is the decarbonization, sustainability, and better living, both in Europe and beyond. And it is the opportunity to give all partners in the built environment to contribute to a sustainable value chain for a cleaner, safer, affordable, smarter, decarbonized, and sustainable built environment. This all to be able to have long-lasting transformation and behavioral change, and to be able to deliver long-term goals set by the European Green Deal. From the point of view of coordination, as I said, from public side, we have the colleagues from the European Commission. Mainly it is DG Energy, but also lots of contributors from different DGs like Move, Climate, Connect, quite a few environment, to mention just a few. And from the private side, it is us, European Construction Technology Platform, and World Green Building Council. Briefly outlining three main general objectives of the B4P. It's scientific, economic, and societal, which are specified by 7 Build for People specific objectives. To develop holistic solutions in systemic approach, to demonstrate overall performance in the life cycle perspective, to be able to demonstrate clean energy transition potential, as well as to demonstrate sector decarbonization pathways. We continue with the objective to demonstrate sustainable circular business and value chain. Next one is to demonstrate affordability and cost effectiveness, and all these by being able to demonstrate no trade-offs on economy, on comfort, on health, on cultural heritage, etc. So what it is the the main moving force of the Build for People. One of them is the Stakeholders Forum, where the stakeholders will be able to gather their ideas in order to advise, review, and suggest the priorities which needs to be addressed, which should be this should be done in line with the Strategic Research and Innovation Agenda, as well as the Horizon Europe Strategic Planning. And these recommendations are gathered in order to be further delivered to the Commission in order to adjust or reorient the suggestions for the further development of the built environment. So the main idea about it, and anyone can participate, is to create a strong community around Build for People. So more practically, how we build the community. So who can participate? Anyone like ECTP, WGBC affiliated entities, member states, affiliated countries, all the project offices from DGNR can contribute, and this information to be spread by media channels. And those participants who are not affiliated with European associations are also invited to contribute and participate. By now, we already have 2 B4P stakeholders forums, one in June 22, the second one was in 23 October last year, and both were online. And now I would invite you to save the date of the 23rd of September this year, where we're going to have the third and real life stakeholders forum, which will be held in Luxembourg, back to back with Sustainable Places Conference. So it will be in European Convention Center in Luxembourg, and we reserve the afternoon of 23rd of September for this mission. So Build for People Stakeholders Forum is free. Everyone is invited to participate, and it will contain plenary sessions as well as 4 parallel sessions. Build for People State Representatives Group, at the moment we have 20 countries which are confirmed to take part in Build for People State Representatives Group. The list you can see on the screen. 20 confirmed countries as of today, and new countries can join at any time, and obviously it can only add to our force if we have more countries and more active participants. So just a couple of words about how Build for People contribute to the preparation of Horizonte Europe work program. So when the idea just appears, the inputs from Build for People's Strategic Research and Innovation Agenda are collected, as well as inputs from member states and associated countries are collected for internal European Commission alignment. This leads to the production of the first draft of a work program, which will contain many of the topics of calls. They will be like general descriptions without precise the budgets. This first draft work program will go through internal European Commission alignment, which will result in more precise revised call topic descriptions with budgets. It will give the second draft work program. Then at this moment, the Build for People participants will have about couple of weeks to give inputs on the budget and final voting. So it won't be the drastic changes by this moment, but like this precisions and concretizations of the topics is allowed and welcome at this moment. After providing the second draft of work program to the Commission, there will be internal European Commission alignment, and which will result in the third draft work program, containing the final draft call topics. And this draft will also be given to Build for People stakeholders, who will have about 1 week for final input. So it will be rather than like last touches which one can add to the draft. This will result in the final work program draft, which will be published, and open participations, which will concretize in the Build for People calls published in the funding and tenders portal of the European Union portal. So in Cluster 5, Climate, Energy and Mobility Destination Forum, at the moment we have 5 topics which you see in front of you on the screen. They will be open on the 17th of September this year for proposals. And the call for topics will be closed on the 21st of January 2025. So here you can see quite a few. Well, there are research and innovation actions, there are innovation actions, and at this moment we don't have any CSAs, but we do have sometimes in Build for People topics. In front of you, you can see some project examples of Build for People, and they're mostly focused on developing solutions for building renovations. This list is not exhaustive, it's just some projects which are some finished, some already ongoing. And at the moment, there are 29 projects under Build for People calls. Here, to give you a little bit of taste on the concrete topics and types of actions which are currently ongoing. So in Build for People call 23, there were 5 topics. The innovative uses of life cycle data for the management and buildings and building portfolios. 26 proposals were evaluated and 2 projects were accepted. The success rate, well, is comparatively low, 8%. The second topic had a higher success rate of 13%, where there were 15 proposals received. The third one is, the first 3 are innovation actions. The third one is to demonstrate built environment decarbonization pathways through bottom-up technological, social, and policy innovation. For adaptive, integrated, sustainable renovation solutions, had the success rate of 15%, with 13 proposals received. The fourth part, the fourth topic, was the coordination support action, having 4 proposals submitted with success rate of 25%. So just 1 proposal was funded, and now we already know the name, it's Start Track. And the 5th topic, which is also innovation action, supporting the creation of an accessible and inclusive built environment. 12 proposals were submitted, and 2 proposals were funded with a success rate of 17%. So here you can see some proposals already have the name, some proposals are not, the name is still disclosed. It's simply because it's the final stage of signing the grant agreement. And so here is another thing, how to participate in Build for P. One can join as a partner, one can join the stakeholders forum, one can apply to open calls, which are, it's not the closed club of P4P. Anyone could apply for them. And otherwise one can participate in consulting and advisory activities of the partnership. And once again, if I may invite you to our stakeholders forum in September 2024, and the slides will be shared with you, so you can go in more detail for into the provided links. And should you have any more questions, you're very welcome to contact Build for People management team, which is composed of 2 people from ECTP, myself and Alonso Lee, and 2 people of World Green Building Council, represented by Laura Payares and Stephen Richards. So if I might take a couple of questions now or later, I'll be happy to do so.
Yes, thank you so much. I know that you have a busy agenda today, and we thank you so much for making the time to join us here. So if someone from the audience has a question, I would like to ask, please post your question now or write in the chat, or we can always do it by email if you don't want to do it now, I guess, if that's okay with you, Anastasia.
If for those people who are a bit shy, I'm always available by email, and even, well, not just happy, but even more happy to respond.
Thank you so much, and I hope everyone has already saved their agendas for the 23rd of September. As you see,
Afternoon.
Build for People has quite very important funds, very important area, very important research innovation topics. It's very competitive, so it is important to know the policy and the all the ecosystem around it, and that's why we have invited Rita Moura and Isabel Pinto for this for the panel that will follow. So maybe I will, if there are no questions from the audience, thank you again, Anastasia. I will give the word to Rita Moura, which is the president of the European construction platform, a technology platform in Portugal. Yes, we can see your presentation, Rita.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And can you hear me also?
We can
Can you
hear
hear me?
you very well, very well, yes.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you so much. So I will share our ecosystem in Portugal, because I also participate together with Isabel Pinto in the Build for People board, partnership board. But now I will show how we are organized in Portugal. So first of all, I will talk about the competence agenda for the twin transition, but also human-centric agenda in Portugal, okay? So, so starting with the big picture, we have a strategic position for the country's competitiveness. We have stimulus to the development of collective efficiency actions, and we promote innovation and research and development and the internationalization of the Portuguese economy. So this is what the Portuguese construction technology platform does. We are like the mirror of the ECTP, European Construction Technology Platform. So our mission is focusing innovation, competitiveness, and the sustainability of the architecture, engineer, and construction sector in a general framework of the economy. So bringing together and promoting cooperation between companies, RTOs, associations, etc. So it's more or less what ECTP does, but in a national level. So our members, we gather almost 80 members. We have large companies, we have entities, universities, RTOs, small and medium companies also, innovative small and medium companies, public administration entities and associations. And we talk with public authorities about national policies regarding the construction sector. So this is how we make the difference, how AEC cluster make the difference, by understanding the global dynamics that affect the Portuguese construction industry, and we helped connecting the pieces, okay? So we work in the global research reach. We have a technology at the core. We have a life cycle view of the projects. We try to leverage the ecosystem. We have the industry experience, and this is really important because we have a lot of companies, and this is a movement that comes from the companies that then bring together the universities. So this is quite important. So we have like a total perspective of the construction sector in Portugal, but not only in Portugal, because the Portuguese companies work worldwide. So we have a very international activity. So this is our strategy. I'm not going to talk of all these projects, but our strategy, we are focused in R&D, of course, the partnerships, also public policies, qualifications and competencies, and internationalization. And these circles that we have in this strategy are projects that we developed. They are complete right now to respond to these, initiatives that we want to dynamize, we want to promote. So we have a large experience. We have 12 years of existence, so we have a lot of projects, as you can see. And this is like our star, the Build Collab, the collaborative laboratory, which is like our harm to the innovation, and it's really important to bring the innovation and to promote competitiveness in the construction sector. So thanks to Build Collab, we develop a lot of projects more recently, and we are with a very good dynamic in Portugal regarding innovation. So talking a little bit more about Build Collab, in Build Collab, we promote the twin transition of buildings and infrastructures. And this is really important because I think that we have to talk more about infrastructures, because infrastructures are a major part of the built environment. And in Build for People, we are trying to put more infrastructures in the equation, because this is not only buildings. Infrastructures are huge and very important to the twin transition that we need to promote in our country and not in Europe also. So we promote digitalization, of course, based on BIM methodologies, but also promoting the use of digital twins in the built environment. And we promote sustainability using a life cycle assessment methodologies based on BIM also, and the principles of circularity in construction to decarbonize the construction sector, which is the most difficult part of the construction, the most difficult challenge of the construction nowadays is the circularity. And Build Collab follows a technology to market approach, so joining knowledge centers, industry and users, the final users, in a collaborative environment to encourage a common co-creation model and contributing to the transformation of the built environment of the future. So I'm not talking too much about this, but this is the thematic strategy in a holistic approach of the Build Collab. So we have those pillars, those 5 pillars: the smart transport infrastructures, IoT smart technologies, BIM intelligence and digital twins, green transition, and also we work in standards and digital transition. But we have a lot of projects inside of Build Collab that respond to these issues, and but I'm not going to talk one-to-one because there are a lot of them, as you see. And this is in another form, but we have a lot of projects that target these pillars, these challenges of the construction industry in Portugal. I'm just talking about this project because it's a big project that was finished some months ago, that involves 20 partners, is a 9 million euros Portuguese project, and it was really interesting because we promote the digitalization, as we say, the REV construction is the digital transformation in Portugal, and it's a really interesting project, bringing together a lot of Portuguese companies, universities, and it was a very good, a very well succeeded project that we have. So you can find more information about this REV construction in web. Another important project was more a future of construction, is more a collective action that supports the system initiatives in Portugal. And in this project, we develop an action plan to the digital transformation in the AEC sector, with the standardization of process and systemization, and a very important project also, the review of the professional categories in the construction sector. This is really important because you know, the professional categories are a little bit old-fashioned, so we have to change them in order to attract more talents to this important industry. And also we have this published circular economy in the construction industry, which is really important, where we have a characterization of the state of art of circularity in Portuguese construction industry, a documentation supporting to the Portuguese waste framework, and we develop an action plan, an executive summary, and this is really really interesting work that we done together with Fundo Ambiental, linked to the environmental ministry in Portugal, and also those entities, also HAPA. I'm not going to say all of them, but we work together with a lot of entities in Portugal, and this is a really interesting work. And because of this work, we have a lot of prospective projects in sustainability fields. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but we have here a lot of projects that we intend to develop in the coming years. And one of these projects that another project that we are now initializing, it's C20. It's the decarbonization roadmap for the construction sector and associated industrial activities. And we are just beginning this project. And this project is a strategic project for the Portuguese to achieve the goals set for 2050. And as you know, construction has a large impact in these objectives, in sustainable goals for 2050. So it's a very interesting project that we are now initiating, and it's financed by the Portuguese program Recovery and Resilience Plan, and it's now beginning. Okay, another one, and this is Portuguese and European projects. It's a European Digital Innovation Hub, Digital Build. It's something that we are also beginning right now, together also with ANI and also with the European Commission. So it's a really interesting project that we are beginning right now. So 50% is directly funded from the European Union, and 60% and 50% co-financed by the Portuguese Recovery Plan also. And the following services will be provided in the field of digital transformation, training, digital inclusion, support in the search for financing and intermediation, SMEs incubation services, and digital maturity diagnosis. It's what we are going to do in this digital build environment. We have 10 partners, 3 clusters together. And the cluster AEC, the construction cluster, is the leader, but we have together with us the railways cluster also, and mineral resources cluster. So we think that this is the collaborative laboratory for the build environment, and this mineral resources and the railway cluster has a lot to do with us. So it's really interesting to work together in the same objectives that we have together. And we also have those entities, as you see, Build Collab, Itecons, Centro de Competências Ferroviárias, so Stone City, Inesctec, FE Group, and FNWay. So this is the consortium, and we are now beginning. Okay. So this is like a one-stop shop service provided to SMEs and also public administration. We are trying to find something that we can also include public administration. So I also let you know that you have to pay attention in Portugal of this initiative that is really starting right now. So it's really interesting, and we think that this will change a lot the ecosystem, the construction ecosystem in Portugal. So as you know, the construction we see before Apren, the presentation was wonderful, and in Portugal we are quite well in what concerns to renewable energy. So we are quite efficient in the energy terms, but not in materials. We are not very good in construction regarding that, and we consume like 40% of the materials. We have 40% of the debris from the construction are 40% of the secondary materials that we have, and also we have an impact of 40% in CO2 emissions. So we have a lot of work to do in this field. And so this is what I was trying to say in the waste generated. As you see, the construction and the mining, it's because of that we work with mineral resources also together. We represent a lot of the waste generated in the Europe. So this is really important to work in this field. So we are a lot focused on it. So in the construction, we have a today vision of modular construction, and tomorrow we put it circular, because All the buildings are 100% different, but 80% of the elements could be similar, like in Lego construction. So we have to understand that construction has to change to have a mindset, changing the mindset of the construction, and we have to design our buildings in order to deconstruct those buildings some years from now on and to build other ones. So this is the principle, the main principle. So we have to think about super circularity in the future because we have to design material roadmaps to design specific specificities of upgrading and use of repurposing after several end of product life cycles, and this is really important. We also have to think about plug and play components that we use in construction, something that we can put and take it, and for instance, like installations, light installations, we have to think in a way that we can use the skeleton of the building and then put all the installations over different layers in that building. So this is a different mindset that we have to work on. And the core principle, and we have to work with digital twins, of course, because we have to know where the components are during the life cycle of the building and the maintenance needs. So it's really interesting to have that. And also we have to evaluate residual value in the real time of all the components that we have in the buildings, and they are really important. And as you know, for instance, nowadays the architects, they look for old windows, old doors, because they are vintage, they are interesting to put in new buildings. So we mindset when we talk about using the ancient constructions and build new constructions and bring old components with new constructions together, and this is a different way of thinking. So the key enablers of the super circularity is the fragmented ownership of the structure. If we put the structure and we separate all the service suppliers that we have, for instance, in a building, it will be very interesting to have that. And those service suppliers, they know better how to take care of those of their components. So this is something that we have to work on. And we have to standardize the building layer model, and also to work on these plug and play interfaces that we can put and change them along the life cycle of the building. And we have to go more and more to as a service business models. So we don't buy a light system, we buy a light services. We want someone that sells us the light service of the building and not the installation itself. So we are in a current situation of renovation, recovering and downcycling materials. And tomorrow we will update, we are going to update the installations across layers, and in some years from now on, we will upgrade physical and digital these installations that we have. So we have to change our mindset about the buildings, because they have to be more, they have to be more, they have to permit the updating during their life cycle, because buildings are here to last for a long period. So we have to change our way, the way how we maintain and these buildings. So, and talking about foresighting in 100 years, a French artist drew illustrations in 1910 about what the 21st century would look like. And as you see, it's not so different if you compare with this future of construction, a figure from the World Economic Forum, 100 years after that. But of course, in the next 100 years, things will change a lot, And I will put this, What Technology Wants is a book that has like 12 scenarios for the next 100 years and what the world will be in the next 100 years. And I will, it's a very interesting book that you can read. And of course, artificial intelligence and machine learning are a lot in this book, and things will change a lot. So I don't think that we can predict so well as these French artists predict in 1910 what is going to happen 100 years from now on. So this is how we can benefit from Portuguese ecosystem. Yeah, it's, thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you, Rita, for this very inspiring and interesting presentation. I'll invite now Isabel Pinto-Seppa from VVT Finland to also share with us how the ecosystem and the challenges of the built environment in Finland.
Hi, good afternoon. Can you hear me well?
Yes, very well, thank you.
Okay, let's see if I manage to change here. Let me know if you can see, or when can you see?
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay, I actually have it in my screen way too small, but okay. If you can see it well, I'll go from here. Hey, thank you so much, and thank you, Rit, because we will have some parallels here. So my name is Isabel Pinto-Seppa, and I work in the VTT Technical Research Center of Finland. And I will talk a bit on VTT itself, because especially when it comes to the Horizonte Europa and integrate with the Build for People, we do have a critical role here in the Finnish ecosystem. But then I will talk a bit about the RDI environment in Finland and what is behind it. So it's a bit different, has come from a research organization. So I thought it could be interesting. So I don't come through a funding agency or the NCP. So I thought it would be interesting to show a bit some reasonings behind the innovation ecosystem in Finland, thinking on potential collaborations that we could see also now in Rita's presentation. I could see many common thematic areas where it could be. So it's more about maybe to let you know a bit what could be to make collaborations with Finland, so what it takes and some examples. Okay, so let's see, is this changing? Can you see it changing?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yes, okay. So the organization, the VTT, the Technical Research Center of Finland, is a public-owned company. We are owned, we are like steered by the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Employment, which is also the same ministry that usually deals with the EU affairs together with others, but that steers, and also the Strategic Program Committee of Horizonte Europa. So we do have these relationships. So both has the largest R&D organization in the country and also the major recipient of the EU research funding in Finland, and also one of the majors in Europe. But we have, that comes from a very solid position within the Finnish innovation system and with a very co-working also with the public authorities. Which means the reason why also I bring this, it's also because sometimes in this environment, people think that, well, we mostly work with EU projects, which is not the case. So we do work with all the ecosystem, international and mostly national, and the projects are elements between, so cooperating with the national ecosystems, with international, and also in customer driven. So the EU funded projects have a role that we use for our own development, for international collaboration, but also we use, as we are the main beneficiaries in Finland, we have the responsibility and also as a mandate from the ministry to bring the Finnish actors and the Finnish ecosystems for the collaborations. We do work with transport, energy, digital, and a lot of sustainable products from food to materials. So we do not do everything, but we do apply the collaborative research with critical assets on infrastructures and pilot infrastructures, this international collaboration and international partners. So that's why we participate in 25 of the European partnerships. The Build for People is quite critical. And then we invest a lot in the talent pool. I think it was already said here, Finland and VTT are not an exception. Today, talent is it's a critical asset that we do. Now, when it comes to the energy and build environment, when the focus teams, so the build environment and the construction is together in research-wise unities with the energy unit. So the energy efficiency buildings, the buildings as part of the energy system, resilience of buildings, but also all the life cycle from construction, all the circularity, materials, and also a lot, as Rita already referred, on the infrastructures and especially on the underground construction. I would then later talk a bit about that. So as a research organization, we do not do everything in these areas. There's also some special areas, but basically we cover, and then a huge dimension on the digitalization, on the digital twins, data sharing, and also air quality. So this is what we do. But now a bit, as I said, I would actually like to talk a bit about the Finnish innovation ecosystem. So a bit pausing what we do. So the reason why I put this map here is not that I think you don't know where is Finland, but it's a bit of as a reminder of the geographical situation, because that impacts a lot, both in the business as in the market behavior. So that's with a big neighbor in one side and a lot of sea in the others. So it's a bit different, even if Finland has the same conditions and markets as the other Nordic countries, as Sweden and Norway, but the proximity with the rest of Europe is not the same when it comes even to logistic management. So just a reminder. So when we think about the country, this is not just a big picture. This is about 70 to 80% of the country surface. So that's the natural resources that Finland has. Forestry, minerals, including critical minerals of untapped resources, and a lot of fresh water, usually used as an asset, but maybe in the future used as a competitive advantage. It's a cold climate when we are talking about construction that brings huge challenges to the construction. Challenging logistics, as I refer, the things need to be flew or come through the sea, which impacts also on costs, and a scarce population in a large area. So the country is quite big, with 5 million persons. So this also brings another challenge. And an impactful history in the sense with a bit difference. So there's no, for example, there's a cultural heritage, of course, like all the countries, but we are not talking about the cultural heritage like in Portugal or Spain with buildings with 500, 600 years sometimes to take care of others. So Finland is a relatively new country. The urbanization is new. Independence of 100 and few years, the capital is 90 years, so there is some impact in the history. And on the other side, when it comes to the business environment, so because the country is actually big but scarcely populated, and with these challenges, so they have a tradition of collaboration because it's a surviving skill. They have to collaborate. It's a bit isolated. there's few people, so there's no other way than trust. So that reflects a bit for many years in the business environment as well. So the build environment, construction, architecture is not an exception. It's a collaborative environment, like it's very open and stable business environments. There's one of the best digital competitiveness is in EU, and that reflects then on things as the building information models, the digital twins. So there is the 5G infrastructure, there's data, there's the quantum ecosystem developing and high-performance computer, and all these supported not just for the business, but also by the government and the investments. The construction in this picture is always a bit of residential sector, but it does benefit from it. There's a reliable infrastructure and energy. There's a very big tradition on process efficiency, and it's basically a leading test bed for technology, for many technology. And there's, in general, educated, skilled, and committed society. Now, this doesn't mean that everything is nice, positively, there's no challenge, not at all. What I mean with this is just that it's the general things that makes Finland quite often almost like all the countries, almost like a test bed. There's the culture for that, there's the acceptance, but sometimes then there's also challenges then how to upscale during to the other constraints. So in that sense, the build environment, so which is here called KIRA, or construction and real estate sector, this ecosystem, which is, there's in Finland, there's not a construction and technology platform, as Rita Mora just presented. So there is this kind of what's called KIRA, a bit of a non-defined environment, although there's officially a KIRA hub, where the ecosystem and the companies and the R&D come together to discuss. So when they look at this as a sector, so they are dealing with the challenge are not, they were already referred in the previous presentations, like all the others, the challenge of the geopolitics, the socioeconomic challenge, climate change, resource efficiency, all the security. So they have to deal with these challenges in a small market size, but with a growing demand, as the urban growing in Finland has been huge, like in the other countries. So there has been a bit of too much demand to too many challenges in a small market size and operating with the challenge of logistics on a cold climate. Okay, so this and the recent geopolitics, because a lot of business were also done, of course, with Russia, so that they have to have a resilience and a rethinking of many issues. On the other hand, as I said before, the ecosystem is embedded in this Finnish innovation environment. So there's a culture of trust and collaboration that makes that the platforms of trust, the implementation of the building permits, the digital building permits, the blockchain technologies. So there's a lot of test beds going on this during the construction process, because the infrastructure is there, the digital infrastructure, the collaboration. There's the public push, as Finland was one of the first countries in putting into the law the carbon neutral targets as a carbon neutral for 2035, not 50. There's a question mark if they will reach there or not. And then there's the bioeconomy. As I show, I mean, the forests are an asset. So the value of the bioeconomy, it's about 26 billion and 4.6 in construction. So the wood construction, the wood products in construction, fiber-based countings, biomaterials is a huge asset. And it's a huge R&D thematic area because it's not there, of course, it has challenges. So a bit similar with Rita, and I was happy to see so many common areas which could be developing common areas of collaboration. So this KIRA sector, which would be, let's say, the platform, the ecosystem, had come together to discuss in all these challenges and opportunities and environments, because it's very mixed, what could be the growth opportunities. So they had this roadmap, which focus in all the areas of the green transition, the productivity, the digitalization, the value creation through the life cycle, with, of course, heavy notes on the bioeconomy, on the circular economy, on spaces as a services. This has been very much explored in Finland, with the main libraries being multi-use, with the shopping center, parking malls are also the civil shelters and prepared for that. So this multi-use, these spaces as a service, has been already implemented for many years. The property management services, Rita already referred also in Portugal, so the need to move to services, so the resolving this repair debt as a services, the need to move to guarantee, not just deliver a building. So all these growth opportunities, they were discussed quite recently. I'll share the links. So they will determine, going back now to the R&D, they will determine many of the R&D priorities, many of the collaborations that the ecosystem, so both we from the research organizations, but also the companies and material providers, they will be looking to develop. They will be prioritizing investments on these areas for the growth opportunities. The international collaboration is absolutely critical. So as I said, that's why I would like to show that slides first on the business environment itself. So Finland is too small for these big companies to grow. So they have, when it comes to the innovation, it's amazing. So all the country, they have all the digital service, they have the innovation test bed almost constant, but then the market is not enough. They need to grow. And they need the international collaboration and also the cross-sectorial collaboration to upscale. So this is our main things to explore. And then just a couple of side tours to some other drivers that are pushing the sector. So the public support, it's driving, the public actors are driving a lot to change. So this Senati is the main public owner, so the owner of all the governmental buildings, defense buildings, universities. So they own, they build, they manage. And they have been already for many years pushing basically the twin transition, the digital and the green. So they have currently targets for their sustainability targets. And they were also in 2007, together with the equivalent in the Norway, they were pioneers in pushing the requirements in their projects to implementation of BIM and the IFC standard. And that made actually the BIM developed quite much in order to be business as usual. So when it comes to the R&D, we are looking more on the implementation of the digital twins functionality, integration with other issues. So it's not anymore an R&D issue, because they have been pioneers. And the Ministry of Environment as well is pushing the boundaries, like demanding carbon and print, not just the footprint, like from 2025. And quite recently, for example, as the skills are also a big challenge here, they have been building some online free training for decarbonized construction, which is done both for skill training, but also for students. So that's why I'm heading, and someone wants to explore here the link in the slides. And then the other side of the public sector, so the cities, the regions, which have also been pushing, and with the big support also from H2020, Horizonte Europa. So there are 5 Finnish cities that have been aware with the mission label. And again, if you think this is a scarce populated country, I think 5 is an amazing number that decide to do these climate neutral contracts. And from these 5, 3 have been actually financed as lighthouse smart cities. So this is to show it's not also in Portugal. I mean, Guimarães and Lisbon, they have got the label and they have been in the smart cities. So it's kind of also to show the importance of these collaborations and continues then to push further the targets. And then also the regions, so the Helsinki region, the south of Finland as a region, Helsinki-Uusimaa, is a pioneer on implementing the EU mission, adaptation to climate and the Circular Regions Initiative. And all this I'm not just telling it because, oh yeah, we do all these references. Well, there are tons of references, but I'm telling this in relation with, so there's not at the moment, for example, a national R&D construction program. There's also not an European one. But this kind of pushes and initiatives special to the public sector, they make all the ecosystem of the built environment, all the actors, they need to follow, they need to be pulled. So this kind of climate neutral contracts, they will need to pull the actors to deliver. So this is a push. And another example and potential for collaboration also through the projects of Horizonte Europa is a bit of going a bit on the ecosystems models, like Rita Mora presented the collab. So in Finland, the Innovation Agency, Business Finland, supports a bit different kind, which is they are called Veturi, or leading companies ecosystem. So it's an ecosystem, but where the biggest companies and preferable global, like Kone and Nokia, so these more known, they are the ones pulling and organizing the ecosystem to the rest. So they does not mean they are the only ones financed or is their agenda. It means they get the biggest share and responsibility because they have an R&D capacity bigger than the others. So the ecosystem is built in a co-creation model, but there's what they call a veturi, which direct translation is the carriage that pulls the train. And all these ecosystems, so there are several. I put here the example of the Kone one because it's directly related with the subject today. So all these ecosystems are demanded by the funding agents to have international collaborations. And many of them are also looking for these international collaborations to be built through the EU projects. And then this is my final slide, has just something. So this all translates is in some R&D trends and priorities looking forward. So the digital twins I refer, so now I'm talking not just about VTT, but a bit of what the Finnish organizations are looking for. So a lot on advanced materials, biomaterials, data modeling technologies for materials, the nature-based solutions, not just in general, but including in each building, and the buildings as part of the energy system, resilience and flexibility. So there was a lot of all the studies, resilience solutions, flexibility solutions, and the building as really actors to produce and store, not just as these consumer ones. Circularity, quite interesting now in really setting up test beds and pilots, so not just anymore developing the projects, but going. The industrial metaverse, this has been, there's a big industry of working machinery and robotics in Finland. So from the construction perspective, this has also been explored. So not the metaverse just for the consume, but how to include the industrial metaverse to repairs, to harsh conditions, a lot of robotic. And a big look for cross-sectorial collaboration. So this is part of that ecosystem, Kira, that they know that there's no other way than maybe get together with other sectors, like the forestry sector, for example, to come up with joint innovations. And due to the geopolitics and the current situation, the defense and security, and with a big note also on the infrastructures, are taking a big role. They always had, but at the moment there's a big pull to the sector to come and contribute with new innovations to air quality, thinking about critical infrastructures, defense and security, the property management, and then also a lot on the digital infrastructures, transport, including the maritime and underground, energy, mining, security. I mean, to give you an idea, it's by law for many years that any building, multi-story building in Finland, or even every single citizen, they have to build the civil shelters. It has been there for many years, and now it has been a bit growing more. So this creates another one. I have a final note looking forward, a bit of a hope, as there are many R&D funding gaps in the sector. So this is, I think this was said in the previous, also from Cristiano, and said these calls of the Built for People are very competitive. Yes, they are, but they are also competitive because they are very few. If we think about what Rita Moura had presented, amazing, looking forward and projects, if we think about the broader, where are the infrastructures, where's many areas, I think this is, there's been a bit too much demanding, but maybe too few attention to the broader challenge that need to be solved. So sorry, couldn't receive some final messages.
Thank you, Isabel. It's point well taken. And we all will play our role to try and increase the funding available for all these big challenges. Thank you once again to Anastasia, Rita, and Isabel for this really enlightening and inspiring presentations concerning the built environment. Apologies to all the participants because we are running a little bit late. So just 10 seconds to see if everyone has, if someone has a question to pose to the previous speakers. Maybe you can write in the chat, or I don't see any. But, so maybe I will ask Margarida now to make the last presentation and to finish the event.
Okay, thank you. I will try to speed up this. My name is Margarida, and CP for Cluster 5 as well. This presentation, what we are trying to bring to you is what we consider useful information to get ready for the calls that will open and that were presented today. Just a very key message is that we bring a bit of broad information, general, but we as NCPs are very much available to meet, talk to you, and provide further information if you need. And this is our job to promote the participation of our entities in Horizon Europe. The focus today was Destination 3 from Cluster 5, as well as Built for People. I'm going to briefly present some results from 2021 to 2023 of this destination, so all calls. In this first slide, what we have is the top 10 countries with success in Destination 3, being that they're top 10 because there's at least 65 projects. Basically in yellow, we have the number of participations, purple, the number of projects, in green, the number of coordinations, and in black, we have the funding attributed. So what we can already see is that top 10 countries, we have Spain, Germany, Italy, France, Greece, among others. Portugal is in 10th place in terms of number of projects. Denmark has more. And then we are in 9th place when it comes to participations. So this is ordered by participations. And what is this of participations is the number of times and entities participate in projects. So for example, we can have 2 different entities participating into projects. That means 2 participations. We can have the same entity participating in 3 different projects, and that counts as 3 participations. What I already would like to highlight in this slide is the leading, we have Spain leading coordinations with 50 coordinations. And just so you know, we are not this is an analysis of the total of 259 projects approved. We excluded some calls that were not so competitive, that were not open. So 259 projects, Spain coordinating 50 of these. And another thing I would like to highlight is that we have in a lot of countries the double number of participations when compared to the number of projects. This means that in average, you have at least 2 entities of a given country in a project as an average. For example, Spain participates in 180 projects, and there's almost 500 participations. So some people sometimes still think that you can only have 1 participation per country, but this is not true. In fact, we would very much like to promote that you take Portuguese partners with you when you're preparing a proposal or when you're invited to integrate one. Then in this slide, what we have is the average number of partners and the average number of countries per project. So light blue, average number of partners, and in dark blue, average number of countries. And these by type of action. So we only have 13 coordination and support actions, and then over 100 innovation actions and over 100 research and innovation actions. What we can already see is that innovation actions, the projects in average have more partners, around 18 if you compare it to CSAs or RIAs. This is normal, given the nature of the activities expected in an innovation action. So in an innovation action, you're supposed to demonstrate, conduct case studies, pilots, etc., to demonstrate or test technology solutions. TRLs are higher, so it's normal to have more partners. And what we don't show here, but we have this information, is that also participate more companies and other type of stakeholders that you could call end users. So the entities that will test and be use cases for solutions, technologies, etc. Also, you can see in each column indicated the lowest number of partners with for a certain project and the highest. There is an exception for the innovation action. There is actually a project with 77 partners, but this is usually not the rule. This was a topic dedicated to a digital twin. And we can also see, for example, that for innovation action, there was at least 1 project that was represented only by 3 countries. So it's also normal to have less countries than partners because we take friends, and let me say it like this, it's normal to have more than 1 entity from a given country. So also CSAs and RIAs is also normal to have less partners. They're smaller projects and usually also come with lower budget, usually. These are just general numbers and tendencies. Then in this slide, what we are presenting is the top entities in destination 3 from cluster 5. And although Spain is taking the lead when it comes to number of projects, number of participations, coordinations, it's not the Spanish entity, the first one that appears on this graph looking at the number of projects. So we have Fraunhofer, for example, from Germany with almost 50 projects out of the 259. Then we have CERT from Greece, and this is an entity that participates a lot throughout all Horizon Europe. We have Technical University of Denmark, we have CEA from France, Hina Consulting in Italy, Delft University, and then we have Tecnalia from Spain, CIRS, and other relevant entities. And these are for all destination 3 of cluster 5. We could look better into detail for certain areas or for certain topics, as was already presented today here from the Spanish landscape. Some entities are better in certain areas, but we could also help identifying these entities. Finally, in Portugal, we have 65 projects for the first 3 years, almost 47 million euros, and these are the top national entities participating in destination 3. I will move forward you will have these slides later on, and look into the Build for People results so far. And now we're talking about the very different different numbers. Before we were looking at 259 projects, and now we are looking into 29 projects, okay? So very different. We still have the same, give and take, the same leading countries: Spain, Italy, Greece, France, Germany, maybe in a different order. We added to the top 10 countries, that means having 20 projects or more. We added Portugal and Finland as their guests for our previous panel. So it's the same participations, projects, coordinations, funding. Something I did not say in the previous slide, when I showed the first slide, is United Kingdom. It's the exception here. It does not correspond to funding per se, but it's the budget. Because up until 2023, United Kingdom was not an associated country, so they were not eligible for funding. But we still kept this information here so you can have an idea of the budget they take in the projects. What would I highlight here? Definitely, again, at least a double number of participations when compared to the number of projects. We have Italy, Greece, and Spain really leading. If we are talking about 29 projects in this analysis, Spain participates in 27 of them, Greece in 20, Italy in 22 of them, and the number of participations of Spain, so over 100. So I would say there is a lot of Spanish entities participating in Build for People. Also, looking at the average number of partners and countries per type of action. So what I would say immediately pops, it's 23 innovation actions. So it's a lot of innovation actions when compared to other types of actions. Here we see the same tendency, so less number of different countries when compared to the number of partners. But here we see a bit more of a geographical coverage. So the lowest number of different countries within a project is 6, both in RIA and IA. And we also see more partners in innovation actions. In fact, the numbers here are a bit higher when we look into destination 3. So these are fairly big consortia in average, of course. In terms of entities that are very successful in Build for People, it's interesting that sometimes the data of a certain country, I mean, when we look at the success in terms of number of projects, sometimes we are looking into the success of 1, 2, or only 3 entities. Whereas I would say that in Spain, we have a lot of different entities participating instead of being concentrated in one. So CERT, again, popping out with 7, participating in 7 projects from Build for People. Again, RINA Consulting from Italy. Now we have ICLE from Germany. We have, again, Tecnali from Spain, SEA in France, and then some different stakeholders from different countries. Portugal, we have 8 projects, almost 6 million euros. And actually in Build for People, we have 19 different entities participating. Only Universidade Nova de Lisboa has 2 projects. So why is this information important? And I'm sorry, I'm also taking too long, but I want to convey this message. Why is it important to know, maybe look back into results, know the ecosystem? This information can help make informed decisions. There's other information that I did not present here, but that is interesting. That is the number of proposals per topic. I mean, in Build for People, there's oversubscription in all topics. It's very competitive. But maybe if we look into other areas, we would see that certain areas or certain topics tend to have more proposals. And maybe that could help if you're still deciding where to go. And then it can help to identify potential partners, so at least know who you're up against you. And knowing the tendencies and trying to integrate that information in a proposal could raise the chances of having success. It's not assured, but it can help. Anyway, we are available for further information to look into further detail, other type of information that could be useful. Another thing I would like to talk about is 2025 work program. Today we talked about 2024 topics. They will open, they will close in January, but at the same time, in parallel, we are already starting to discuss 2025 work program. How is this process? Very generally speaking, we start from political and agendas from the European Union. We build on that an orientation paper. We did that already. It was open for consultation up until yesterday. This orientation paper defines the big areas and the strategic lines that will be considered for the next work program. We are talking about work program for only 1 year. Usually this is discussed and defined for 2 years. And then we're going to have 3 drafts of the work program. The first draft is more open, less defined, less specific, meaning with more room for contribution and suggestions. And we, as national contact points, but also delegates, we consult the community to ask for your suggestions, your inputs, with the final aim of having a work program with topics that reflects your interests and that you can apply for the topics. So you can do this via this group we have here. You can send us an email asking for more information on how does it work, how can we further discuss this. But just to say, the moment where there's more room for impact and to add suggestions is now, that we already have the first draft of the work program for 2025. And this way you can try to have a work program that serves you, but also you can follow it and better prepare in advance. Again, here we bring some information, useful tools that can be useful for you, because another key aspect for success in Horizon Europe is partnerships, is networking. So there are available tools. We will send this information later. Also, relevant events, strategic events that maybe you should attend, like the one that also was mentioned today for Build for People in September. Being visible, connect with others, it's very important for success. And finally, how can we NCPs help you? And I know I took a long time, I apologize. We can help you in every stage of the process of application to Horizon Europe. We can help you interpret the topic. We can let you know if what you're proposing is aligned with the Commission wants. We can also contact the Commission for specific questions sometimes you have. What does the Commission mean with this sentence in the topic? Is this that I'm thinking of pursuing as a project? Does it fit the scope of the topic? We can make that bridge with the Commission to try to clarify specific questions. We also review proposals. Our services are free. Whatever you talk and share with us is strictly confidential, and we can give you feedback in your proposal, not just when it's completely finished, but when it's still a draft and rough, and it's better even for us. So we are the MCPs for Cluster 5, very, very much available to meet with you and talk to you. And I'm very sorry for taking such a long time, but I think it was important messages anyway.
Thank you, Margarida. We reached the end of today's event. We do hope that this was useful for you, that you had a glimpse of all the opportunities that are still open in 2024 for renewables and the built environment. They open in September, so you have time to start working on your networks, on your consortia, on funding partners. We are here to help you, and we would finally like to thank again to the 7 amazing speakers that accepted to join us, Maria, Luisa, Mariana, Anastasia, Rita, and Isabel, for their time and knowledge and views. And as Margarida said at the end, we are here to help you. Please do reach out, send an email. We will schedule a meeting and we will guide you through all the process the best as we can. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. The presentations in this will be shared. We will send an email afterwards with where the information will be shared. and hope to speak to you soon. Thank you so much. Obrigada a todos. Muito boa tarde.